Hello coin collectors out there and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. Today we're going to take a look at a mystery farthing. I've brought it up in one of my videos before, but I just can't figure out what it is, and I'm hopeful that I can get a little bit of information from perhaps one of the viewers or maybe some expert can kind of take a look at these during the video and tell me what's going on here. These of course are farthing coins from the United Kingdom. If we look at this, it says George the Sixth. Then in Latin it says DG, by the grace of God, King of all Britons and Defender of the Faith. And if we look way down deep under the neck, we see two initials there. And of course, those are the initials of Thomas Humphrey Paget, the HP of Humphrey Paget. And this dot here is just regular for all the coins. We see that it has kind of a beaded rim that gets a little fused sometimes with the outer rim. And so sometimes you can see the beads separated like here, and then sometimes it looks like they actually touch. This is, of course, King George the Sixth facing to the left in uncrowned portrait. We don't see many uncrowned portraits in the modern money, but you know, some of the new coins of the Queen don't have the crown on. So what's on the back of this coin? Well, this is a 1952 farthing, and of course the farthings are a bronze coin, and it says the year at the top. It has the Eurasian wren here, and it says farthing, Farthing, and again the outer rim is like this, and this is a 1950. And this one got a little bit of a weld mark or something on it, and that might explain what the mystery is here. So when we look at these two coins, we see that they're clearly not the same material, or they certainly don't look to be the same material. This looks like some kind of nickel or nickel alloy, and this looks like a bronze. And in fact, when we look at coins from the time, we look at some of the other coins. This is a sixpence coin from 1948, and we see that it has kind of a similar color. Actually, it's kind of in the middle of the two colors, but much more similar to this one than this one. Now, I've looked up, what's the mystery? Well, I've looked up the 1950 coins, and I can't find any 1950 versions that weren't bronze. And so, what's going on with this coin here? Why is it such a different color? Why does it seem like a different material? Well, one of the things we can do is weigh it. So I'll go way back out and I'll put my scale up. Oops. And then I'm going to turn it on, of course. When you turn your scale on, just let it kind of get set. And then when it gets to 0, you can put the coin on. So I'll put the regular farthing coin on, and we see that it is, what is that, 2.82. So that's well within the limits. It should be between 2.79 and 2.9. So the regular farthing clearly is the right weight. And then we put on this kind of silver farthing, and we get a 2.92. So it's a little bit high, but maybe that's because of the weld, or maybe that's still within reason, 2.91. So it weighs pretty close to the similar amount as the bronze. It looks like here, if we magnify it way up, that it did get welded or something. So then I say, well, maybe when it got welded, it changed the color. And I looked up heating up copper, and I don't see anything that shows that heating up copper changes it to this silverish color. I've seen stuff that says it changes it to blue, to actually sometimes it even gets a reddish blue or a green. And so when I looked at that, I said, well, what about the vinegar and salt thing? So you know sometimes what people do with bronze coins or copper coins to clean them is put them in vinegar and salt. Well, what that does is just tears the coins up, and you often get these kind of etched lines on it. That didn't happen to this coin. If we look at this coin, it's really finely defined. This was not put in vinegar and copper. It just doesn't have that corrosive look to it. The other thing that we should talk about here is the designer of the back of the coin, of course. And the designer of the back of the coin, this is a little harder to see, but That's actually a W and a P. And that W and the P here and here, and this one's a little bit, maybe this got melted too, is for Harold Wilson Parker, who was the engraver of the back of the coin. So Thomas Humphrey Paget did the front, the obverse, with King George VI, and then Harold Wilson Parker did the back, and it's just the WP, and you can see the claws. Another thing I thought was, in the old days, when we used to have fuse boxes, people would sometimes put a penny or a farthing in a fuse box to kind of bypass the fuse, so the fuse wouldn't keep blowing out. Well, I've looked at some of those pennies that were put in fuse boxes, and none of them turned this color either. So I don't really have an answer. I guess what I'd like to say is, if you have any reason why this coin, which is a farthing from 1950, shouldn't be a copper color and should be this kind of silverish, almost nickel kind of color, I wish you'd put something in the comments section or email me with your ideas. And the other possibility, I guess, is that it's coated. And I haven't wanted to actually scrape it to get down to the coating, but that's probably what I'll do if I don't get a fix on what's going on here. There's nothing in the literature, there's nothing on the internet that indicates any kind of farthings from 1950 or anything other than bronze. Now there is a matte or a matte finish farthing. I think there's under 10 of them, but that's not, it still has the bronze color, so it isn't the MATTE, the matte finish, the specialty one. So if you got anything, send something to me. I'd love to hear it. Let's talk about just some general stuff about these coins. They weigh between 2.79 and 2.9 grams, 20 millimeters in diameter, 1.3 millimeters in thickness. They were demonetized in 1960. One of the reasons they were demonetized is there was 240 pence to the pound, and there was 4 farthings to the penny, or pence, and so there were 960 of these in a British pound. Well, clearly that was not sustainable. So on December 31st, 1960, they demonetized these and said these farthings can no longer be used to buy things. They were still used for a short time after that. People just love them, but when you got to put 960 in for a pound, that was a little too much. How many did they make in this is another thing that makes these a little bit harder to find, and that is that in 1948, India achieved its independence and won its independence. Let's just say they won it. They fought for their independence and they won from the United Kingdom. And they had to take off the Emperor of India on here. It used to say Imp, Imperator or Emperor of India. So in 1949, they made the first of these, and they only made them from 49 until 52 because, of course, George VI died in 1952. So it doesn't have the Imp on it, and they made 8.5 million in 49, 10.325 million in 1950. So they made over 10 million of these 1950 coins. They made 14 million in 1951, and then for this year, 1952, they only made 5.25 million. So these coins are worth between 25 cents and $1 each, and there's not that many of them because they really only made them 49, 50, 51, and 52. All right, that's all we have today from the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. Again, if you can explain why this coin's a different color, I'd love to hear it, or tell me what I can do to kind of test it and see. I did test it. I should tell you all, I tested it magnetically. I took out my my little magnet bus of the London bus, and I put it on. Neither one of these is magnetic, so it's not a magnetic coating, whatever it is. All right, that's all we have today from DC Coin World International Coin Channel. Subscribe to our channel if you can, and leave a note in the comments section if you want us to know any more information, or if you have any information for us that would help.